Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a new Naganadel GX. And ladies and gentlemen, this Naganadel GX might be exactly what we've been waiting for. It has been translated by the lovely David Hochmann over at Rappelmann TCG. And of course, it is not the first Naganadel we've had so far. We'll get there in a minute. It is, of course, the first Dragon-type Naganadel we've had, if you're into that. So, let's start off by having a little bit of a look at the basics. It's got 210 HP, which is pretty good for a Stage 1 GX. It's in line with Zoroark, and in fact, the previous Naganadel. It's got a retreat cost of 1, which is firstly low, and secondly means you get access to a skateboard, which is quite nice. It is a Dragon-type Pokemon, which is kind of annoying if I'm honest with you. I mean, you get Devoured Field, which is quite nice, and it means you can use Lance Prism Star to put it directly onto the bench without having to worry about the whole evolution stuff, as long as you had a Pokemon KO'd the previous turn. But you're not hitting anything for weakness, so it's not the bestest. And it is weak to Fairy, which is alright. Sylveon and Gardevoir is a really good card, or Gardevoir and Sylveon. But outside of that and the odd Sylveon deck, you'll be alright. Either of those will get a fairly easy one-hit KO, unfortunately, but you can't win them all, ladies and gentlemen. You can't win them all. But then it's an Ultra Beast. So you can search it out with things like Ultra Space. And you can use Beast Energy to do an extra 30 damage. And you can use Beast Ring to accelerate energy. Ultra Beasts are great. Being a Dragon Pokemon's fine. Being an Ultra Beast is awesome. And the ability here is absolutely phenomenally over the top, brilliantly great. Once during your turn, you may discard an Ultra Beast from your hand and then draw 3 cards. It's crazy good. It's really, really, really good. It is Salazzle for Ultra Beast. Now, Salazzle is discard a Fire Energy. This is discard an Ultra Beast. But outside of that, it's essentially the same thing. And Salazzle is basically confirmed great. Seen a lot of play in Japan, a lot of success in Japan. It's really, really good. This is a draw engine. It lets you draw 3 cards per turn. It's the equivalent of playing an extra Howl or a Lily to 3 cards every single turn. But remember, it's once per turn per Naganadel. So if you get multiple Naganadel out, you can use this ability multiple times during your turn. You could, in theory, be drawing an extra 12 cards if you've got your Naganadel out. Now, to be fair, you do have to have an Ultra Beast in your hand, which can be a little bit of a pain, but it's really not the end of the world because you've got Ultra Space. Ultra Space lets you, once during your turn, search for an Ultra Beast and put it into your hand. So that's going to help you get those Ultra Beasts out far more quickly here. Not to mention, of course, and I maybe should have mentioned this earlier, but you've got Mysterious Treasure. That's going to help you search out your Naganadel. And what's cool is this is Dragon, the other Naganadel is Psychic. They can both be grabbed with this. And while we're on the subject of that, ladies and gentlemen, we probably should point out that this Naganadel works beautifully with the other one. Now, as a bit of a reminder, the other Naganadel, the one we've had for a while, for a single colourless energy, does 20 damage for each Ultra Beast in play. So if you've got 6 Ultra Beasts in play, you're doing 120 for a single energy. And then you start adding stuff like Choice Band and Beast Energy and things like that. It's really good. One of the criticisms I had with the old Naganadel was that it didn't have any draw power. And you're punished for playing non-Ultra Beast, because any non-Ultra Beast you play essentially takes 20 damage off the field. So you play a Tapu Lele in the early game, there's 20 damage gone. Nowadays, if you were to play a Dedenne, there's 20 damage gone. Pop an Oranguru down for a little bit of draw power, that's 20 damage gone. So you ended up with an inherently fairly inconsistent deck, because you were relying on having a supporter every turn, etc. You were not helping yourself in terms of draw power. Well, now you don't need to. You can help yourself. You've got this Naganadel. And I think that changes everything. Now, do remember they are both called Naganadel GX. So you can play 4 Naganadel and 4 Naganadel GX, but you can only play 4 of each. So you will have to choose between the Naganadel GX that attacks and this new Naganadel GX that draws. 2-2 list, 1-3, I leave it up to you, ladies and gentlemen, but please do bear that in mind. But now this Naganadel deck is way better than it's ever been before, because now you've got the draw power. Now you're not relying on having the supporter you want, etc, etc. Now you can potentially, and you'll probably play a 2-2 split, so you're sitting there looking at drawing an extra 6 cards per turn, and that's before you play any kind of supporter. Essentially, it's the same Naganadel deck it's always been, you're just now really consistent. And I should mention Stack Attacker here, because this was played with Stack Attacker. You got 210 HP, but Stack Attacker reduces any damage done to you by 10. You're still going to be a little vulnerable to stuff like Blacephalon, and stuff like Ultra Necrozma that can get a huge one-hit KO. But outside of that, you're looking pretty good here, because you're only using a single energy to attack, so something like Max Potion works beautifully, and now with your draw engine you should be able to get that. You should be able to draw into the Max Potion when you need it. In terms of making the old Naganadel Stack Attacker deck better, this is great draw power. To be clear, it's great draw power in any Ultra Beast deck, but the fact that the old Naganadel Stack Attacker was a good deck, but it suffered from lack of draw power, and this literally gives the draw power, this is the card I've been asking for Ultra Beast since the old Naganadel came out. Either as draw power in an Ultra Beast deck, or in a Naganadel Stack Attacker deck, it's awesome. Now the main attack is good here, it's just a little more expensive than we would like. Psychic and 3 colorless energy. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 170 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, of course, you're hitting nothing for weakness here. If you were, then you'd be able to be taking out Tag Team GXs that were weak. But you're not, because there aren't any that are weak, boo, etc. But really here, the 2 best uses for this are the previously mentioned Tapu Lele and the previously mentioned Dedenne. What you really want is a GX on your opponent's bench, or indeed in the active, with 170 HP or less. That's what you're looking for. And this can do it. This can take them out. This punishes your opponent for having a Tapu Lele or a Dedenne out. And it's a cheeky 2 prizes. This is not the kind of attack that's going to be great every single turn, but it does do more raw damage than the other one. And to be fair, you add a Choice Band and a Beast Energy, and you are up to 230 here, and that will be enough to KO something like a Gardevoir. Remember, this is only to the active, neither Choice Band nor Beast Energy will add any damage if you are hitting the bench. But this attack can hit the active. Now, in terms of the energy, it's a little bit awkward, but you could put this in a Malamar deck. Now, if you're putting it in a Malamar deck, that basically precludes you from being able to play the other Naganadel, at least to its full potential. But what you can do here is just stick it in a Malamar deck for sniping potential. Because remember, you've still got the draw engine, you can still play a couple other Ultra Beasts to get some extra cards. But what you've got here is a way to hit the bench and take out cheeky Pokemon on the bench for cheeky 2 prizes. But the other thing I really love about this is you can use Beast Ring. When your opponent's got 3 or 4 prizes remaining, you drop a Beast Ring, and then you get to search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and attach them to one of your Ultra Beasts. Well, here, either 2 Beast Ring or a Beast Ring double colorless energy, and all of a sudden you've got a straight 4 energy on there, and you're ready to go, and you're ready to use the attack. And I still think the best use for this is in a Naganadel deck, where you're already playing Beast Ring, but also you're not relying on this. This is a really good backup attack. This is really nice as a, I can snipe the bench if I want to kind of attack. It's not an attack I like to be relying on because it's not always going to do enough. And it's for a lot of energy and you have to discard 2 and all of that. But as a backup attack, I love it. And incidentally, it's discard 2 energy, so you can do that thing we talk about quite often where you attach your double colorless, discard it to attack, and then just pop a new double colorless on there. This is a nice attack. And then we've got the GX attack, 1 lightning energy of all things, but please do bear in mind you can always use rainbow energy here if you're desperate, and beast energy will work, but you're not doing any damage, so beast energy won't get the extra 30, so not the best plan. Alright in a pinch. Choose 1 card from your opponent's discard pile and add it face down to your opponent's prize cards. You give them an extra prize, like we saw with Xurkitree. Now, it's not quite as good as Xurkitree, because Xurkitree, you got to pick a card from their hand and put it face down as a prize card. And what was amazing about that was that you could pick the best card in their hand, the one they wanted the most next turn, and then not only do they have 1 more prize, but they've lost that card they really want. But that aside, it's still really good. You're still giving them a 7th prize. You're still making it more difficult for your opponent to go and win the game. So make no mistake about it, it's still really good. It just gives your opponent an extra prize. It makes it more difficult for them to win the game. Now, what you could do here, and this is a little bit round the houses, but if you know they're not going to get a KO next turn, they've got 2 prizes left, you could use this to put them up to 3 prizes, and then next turn you can use your Beast Ring again. Don't know if that's going to work often, but you know it'll work occasionally. This is a really good all-round Pokemon. The fact that it's got the draw engine and then combos so nice with the old Naganadel is amazing. The fact that it's got a draw engine for any Ultra Beast deck is amazing. The fact that you can hit 170 to the bench either in a Malamar deck or in an Ultra Beast deck is great, and the GX attack giving your opponent an extra prize is brilliant. And we haven't got loads of time to get into it today, we'll have to do it later on in another video, but remember we've got loads of really good single energy Ultra Beasts around at the moment, like Buzzwole and like Nihilego, and the Naganadel we're generally attacking with attacks for colourless energy. There is an Ultra Beast deck to be made. That is a subject for another video, but this just absolutely breaks Ultra Beast wide open. So I love this. I'm giving it 5 Wassies. Come at me in the comment section, bro. I think this is a phenomenal card and I love it. But whether you agree or disagree, ladies and gentlemen, that's what the comment section is there for. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.